once you have enough income that your basic needs are covered, you start to realize that life was never about money in the first place.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, especially my coaching students, like, no, the purpose of life, from my humble perspective, is relationships and experiences. Business is just a way to execute and help people and build relationships. Money is just a byproduct of doing good for people, you know?
Welcome to the Cash Flow Fight Club podcast. In the Champions Corner edition, I'm Mike Deaton, and together with Lydia, my co-host in life, business, and this podcast, we're taking you into the training room, deep in the dojo, sharing the secrets of what it takes to forge a champion. We're digging deep into mindset mastery, high-performance habits, best-in-class behaviors, and bringing you the tips and techniques that maximize human potential, brought to you from some of the best in the business.
So grab your butts and your seat, hit subscribe, and get ready to up your game. Let's do the show.
Let's do it. All right. Lydia and I have a wonderful guest in the Champions Corner today, Maurice Philogene. He's a kindred spirit in so many similar aspects of our lives, definitely forging a path of his own design. He served in many different roles and amassed a breadth and depth of experience in life, from a special agent in the military to the police force, law enforcement field offices to senior exec, real estate investor to world traveler. Maurice is passionate about living life to the fullest and having great experiences while giving back to his family and the community. He now enjoys complete financial, lifestyle, and geographical freedom and is engaged in helping others. He's making it his mission to try life on and looking to help you do the same. Welcome to the podcast, Maurice.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to see both of you.
Yeah, you too, man. So we were chatting a bit before, but you're coming to us from about halfway across the world here.
I'm in the Mideast today. I'm in Beirut, Lebanon today,
nice.
Where I frequently come out here.
Yeah. You have some friends and any work there? Or just
true to your wonderful introduction and the purpose of the podcast, I'm over here for lifestyle reasons. I fell in love with the Mediterranean. I never thought Lebanon would be involved in it, but I fell in love with the Mediterranean years ago. I said I was either going to work or live here. I put that out into the ether. And one day I was having drinks with a friend, and she reminded me that our common college friend, her husband is Cypriot, lives on the island, and was a real estate developer. So I pay attention to the signs like that. I called him. Yeah. We had a Zoom 3 weeks later, and then I was on his couch 3 months later, and we're on our third development project. So work is over in Cyprus.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that. So I want to get to that, but let's rewind a bit and tell us about your early days. So I know you, at least in your bio, you mentioned from an early age, you got this mindset of saying yes to life and trying to have experiences. And I'm really curious about that and how, what was the genesis of that? Was that just something inside of you? Was that something you saw modeled out of your parents, or you just kind of lucked into having an experience and made an impression? Or what were those early days for you and how that formed?
You just nailed it. So I've always had a kind of an explorer spirit. That's just been my nature. But there were two incidents that happened to me that put me on this whole entrepreneurial journey. And this is why the why of what you do things is so important. The first thing is my dad sent me to France for 30 days to live with an exchange student who had stayed with us the previous summer. Well, his dad, I was 15 years old at the time, so this is 1990. Think inner city Boston kid showing up in an apartment in, beautiful France. His dad proceeded to drive us around the country for 30 days in an old 6-shift Range Rover. And it just floored me. Like French food, French wine, French funeral, French castles, French girls, French everything. And at the time, I was just a city knucklehead kid. And I was having all these experiences and like visceral reactions to, oh, wait a minute, life is not Yo MTV Raps, or life is not having a beeper on my side, or life is not getting us when cell phones were starting to come out and all that type of stuff. So that was the first thing. I went through a gamut of emotions during that trip that I vividly remember. And for some reason, I wrote a journal. I don't know why. I had never done one before. I still have it some 30 years later. It's scanned on my computer. The second incident was when I was 21 and I picked up Personal Finance for Dummies, the book.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interest in fixing my finances. Like I was coming out of college, I had messed up some credit stuff and everything. I found the concept of passive income, right? It's like, oh, we can make money and it be devoid of our need to physically be somewhere. Really? Well, here's how all the real estate started. My philosophy in my head was like, if I can generate passive income, then I can create some time freedom. If I can create time freedom, then I can go back to when I was 15 and have more of those experiences. That's why I went after real estate. It wasn't like I want money too, but it wasn't just related to money. It was related to how am I ever going to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, and not sit in an office for the rest of my life. And that's kind of how it all started. And it's 98 countries, 300 times later, I'm still going.
That's awesome. That's great. Those early days really can make a profound impact.
They do for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And so from there, I guess you got a bug of not only travel, but just more to life than your bubble. You got into real estate also at an early age, it seems like. What was your intro into the real estate world?
Same kind of thing. So when I just bought a place to live. I was aware of passive income, but the first time I bought a piece of real estate, I was just buying a condo to live in the Washington, D.C. area. It happened to me in 2002, which was the beginning of the boom cycle, up to 2008. And I bought mine, and then 3 months later, the one next door, same floor plan, sold for $30,000 more. What the hell was that? And my father explained equity to me. We didn't have Google back then, so I went to the library, Fairfax County Library in Alexandria, Virginia. I grabbed all these books. I'm not kidding you. I walked in there on a Saturday at 9 a.m. I walked out at 6 p.m. and I never left to even eat. I was shocked that people had the ability to make someone's salary in a transaction. Like, this is crazy. So by the end of the year, I had bought 10 more.
Oh, wow.
That's how that all started. Now, this is back during times when there were things like no doc loans. They were barely looking at your W-2 statements. Like I took advantage of all that stuff and messed up sometimes, but I had way more successes than failures. Got up to roughly 50 single family homes, but ended up in 2000. So this is 2003 to 2014. Ended up in 2014 with 18 paid off homes. And that's kind of how I won my financial, because some of them appreciated, right? And then I would lump it with my paychecks and I would store until I could buy one or pay one off. I was very methodical about, it's not that I needed more, it's that I needed the cash flow. So when something appreciated, like, no, let me go pay these loans off, because that means I can control my time. And that's the biggest thing in life that we all want, is the ability to control our time.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the core freedoms in life. And we certainly have enjoyed that later in life, but we're on the road.
Sounds like we are on the similar path, because Mike and I talk about it many times. We're not necessarily passionate about real estate or passionate about what we do per se, but we're passionate about the lifestyle that it gives us, about the freedom of time, about the freedom of travel, about all of these that really trying life on.
It's a tool. It's a tool. And once you have enough income, or passive income, virtual income, whatever, once you have enough income that your basic needs are covered, you start to realize that life was never about money in the first place.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, especially my coaching students, like, no, the purpose of life, from my humble perspective, is relationships and experiences. Business is just a way to execute and help people and build relationships. Money is just a byproduct of doing good for people, you know? So
a means to an end, and not the ends in itself.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. I do a little coaching as well on the life front, and we've started a business coaching as well. But all of that, you touched on it at the very beginning. It's about the why, and we don't do enough, I think, thinking about life's why. And that's something, that's a foundational exercise that I go through with any client is, scope way out to the end of your life And what are those things that you want to look back on that are going to be profound in your life? And it's never, that I was CEO of this company or that I had a certain title or whatever, right? It's exactly what you said, the relationships, experiences, the impact I made on others. Those things are a lot more meaningful, and money is an essential fact of our lives, and we have to have it. And so, yeah, if you can do it passively or through investing or through something that enables you to have that bandwidth to do the things that really will fulfill you in life, then all the more for it. It's great that you got started really early on that. I think so many people myself included, I get trapped into, you get out of college, you get a job, and then you're just sucked deeper and deeper into that lifestyle.
Yes, because status quo is a default language. And there is a rhythm to status quo that exists. So that default lifestyle, if you will, of people going to work, and then I think people forgot the reason why they were working in the first place. The reason why the reason why we were working is to take care of family and to one day not have to work, or to go do the hobbies we want to do, and to have money to go actually live and things of that nature. And somewhere along the line, just off of the day-to-day rhythm, and it's a hum, and you just kind of forget. It's almost like we were born to get up, take a shower, put on our clothes, take the train, eat Subway sandwich for lunch, go back in, water cooler talk, come home, kiss the wife, kiss the husband, do some homework with the kids, go to bed.
Yeah.
A career should be a purpose or purposeful. If it's your purpose, like when I became a police officer, you're good. You're doing what you love. But if it's not, then it's purposeful. Take those 2 paychecks, store them, invest in something that's going to make sense for you, whether it's a relationship, an experience, or an asset like real estate or dividend stocks or something, and build something. Use those checks purposefully. I just think people don't have that perspective because other people's version of success is, I got to be the exec VP, or I got to be the CEO, or I got to be the partner, or something like that. And they focus on that.
Right. Yeah. Or you think, once I have this, then I'll be satisfied and fulfilled and happy, or,
exactly.
You keep going down there. Yeah. I wanted to touch exactly on what you just brought up, or you teased a little bit, but I know you've run, as you call it, parallel career paths, right? You've been investing, you've had other jobs, you've had multiple jobs at the same time. And I wanted to touch on the intentionality behind that, and kind of what you were, was it your mission to do that because those jobs, it sounds like because you took jobs that fulfilled you in a certain way, or was it, to have an income so that you could continue to invest on the side, or all of the above, or whatever? But just kind of curious about the work.
Yep. So I had 3 parallel careers. I was a senior executive at a global consulting firm called Accenture. I started in 1997, retired in 2021. So I did 25 years. I was also a lieutenant colonel, or ended as a lieutenant colonel and federal agent through my military service, the U.S. Air Force. And then I added, when I was 33, as a means to give back to local community, I added being a street cop at night. So Montgomery County, Maryland Police Department, and I stayed there for 15 years. The police was a purpose. I just had this dream of being a street cop and having the cruiser parked outside of my house. I had that vision, and I had to find a way to make it come true. It just so happens that my boss at Accenture at the time, when I told her I was leaving the police department, leaving the company to go be a police officer and give up 80% salary, she was just kind of floored by that. So we found a way to mesh the careers quietly, and we just never told anybody that I was going to do it. But it worked. And then the military, I was a federal agent, but I was on the other side, technically, because I was a credentialed federal agent. I was working all the time. It's kind of a weird setup. Those 2 were a purpose. I love them. I'm grateful for. I ran field offices all over the world. My favorite one that I ran was in Izmir, Turkey, of about 10 federal agents who were doing stuff in partnership with Turkish partners and things like that. The police was a purpose. Accenture, I'm hyper grateful for them. And while other entrepreneurs and people will crap on corporate, I don't. The skills that I learned there over 25 years of working, phenomenal. And frankly, they paid me really well for it. It's just that I had the wherewithal to take those 2 paychecks and apply them to something called real estate. So when Career Highway was over and I got off Career Highway at exit 46, as I say, there was something else waiting for me, right? So there was an intention to all of it. But the biggest thing is I just wanted to do, like, we only have this one life. If I want to be a street cop, I'm going to go be a street cop. If I want to stay a federal agent, I'm going to stay a federal agent. And if I want to build legacy for my family, then I'm going to stay at this company extremely well and leverage those paychecks as long as I can. And one more thing, when I left in 2021, the writing was on the wall. The last promotion I received was in 2013 because I kept turning down partner. I didn't want it. I just give me the good salary, keep me off management's radar. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want the extra 40 hours a week that comes with it. I don't want that title. And people were so confused by that. But what I tell people is because I wasn't chasing your version of success. I was chasing my own, which was to have experiences and build relationships. So I worked for Accenture overseas internationally on purpose to the detriment of upward mobility. But nah, man, all that stuff was relatively intentional. I kind of understood what I was doing when it was happening. But now that I look back on it, I don't know how I did all.
Yeah.
It was a lot of sleepless nights for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot to be juggling.
Yeah, for sure. I
have a similar, I also, in fact, we both corporate people for 20, 25 years. And it's all a blessing. I mean, it really brought me and Lygia the same. It brought us to where we are today with all of the experiences and knowledge, and it makes us better business people, better investors, better coaches, all today because of all that. So yeah, I don't look back on. I do wish I had started investing and in other things earlier, but it is what it is, and life could have turned out totally different if I had been doing that or something. And so, I don't really have regrets in that way, and I'm very thankful for all of the experience and
me too.
All of that along the way. That's great. So that brings us a little bit to today. So you real estate coaching, international business ventures, give us all that. So what do you do today, if anything, to work on your mindset and, keep you sharp and focused? Do you have certain practices or just continual learning, things like that?
I surround myself with extraordinary people that push me. And that's not a money thing. That they could be doing initiatives and philanthropy work or whatever. I want to be in a constant state of learning. I don't want to be at the top of a mountain. I refuse. If I get up to the top of a mountain where I know all the knowledge and there's nothing for me to learn, there's a problem. So I put myself in situations where I don't know what it is and I have to learn. So relative to the Cypress development stuff, I don't know how to be a developer. I'm learning. I have no idea how to be a developer. Even more so in a foreign country where there's language barrier issues and document issues and things of that nature. But yeah, I love to stay in constant learning and do different things. Like I'm doing media projects now, executive producing a couple of TV shows. This is because I want to learn. I don't want to stay stagnant. I love real estate, but I'm not the real estate investor whose name is Maurice. I'm Maurice. I happen to be a real estate investor along with other things. So it's just, as far as staying sharp and what have you, I'm always looking for opportunities to learn and grow. And that's typically by trying new things. And I'm not talking about toe dipping and getting out. I mean, I'm getting into things for years and years and years, but I want to learn. But what's keeping me busy nowadays is Quattro Capital, of course. So after that single family run, I started syndicating apartment complexes, started Quattro Capital with 4 other partners in 2020. And we've closed on 28 apartment complexes in just about 3 years. So that's pretty good. And they're large, right? Like the last one we did was 38 million, 240 units in Houston, and raised 17 million from investors and what have you. So that keeps me busy on the state side. But here's the thing about that. Because I get to talk to very savvy people like you guys, and there we go. I'm always learning something. In conversations with my investors, they know way more than me about many things. So we're constantly sharing. That's why I like that business, is because I'm being exposed to extraordinary people Same thing with the development stuff. And then same thing with the philanthropy work that I do in Lebanon now. And then my lifestyle design coaching as well. So I don't know, I'm staying very busy. I'm staying very, very busy. But I love it. And I control my schedule. Like yesterday, I wiped my schedule clean. I wanted to go live and go do stuff, and ended up in the mountains here. And today's a heavy work day. So I'm back on the grind today.
Yeah. Again, another one of those freedoms, right? Freedom of time, freedom of money,
Yeah.
all of that plays into it. So that's awesome. Yeah, we also do a bit of syndicating. It is a great way to interface with a lot of savvy people, a lot of good investors. You make a lot of good networking connections, and you grow with assets at the same time, which is some cash flow, some appreciation, leverage a community of investors.
That's it.
Which is.
And you mentioned earlier that you are coaching and mentoring other people. I'm curious what sparked that interest in you. What sparked the interest to really coach other people?
Yeah, I started posting on LinkedIn in early 2020 as a result of I never told anyone about my journey when it was happening. Like all the police stuff, the military stuff, the fact that I was doing real estate in the background. I was even acting on TV. I was in a couple movies and stuff. I was always quiet about it. And then I ran into this gentleman by the name of Jerome Myers, and Jerome was like, "Man, you really pattern yourself off of helping people. You're a servant guy." And I said, "Yeah, I like to serve people." He said, "Well, you're not doing anyone any service by not telling your story at all. The fact that you can work hard in a corporate environment if you want, but also build legacy and a portfolio at the same time. You don't have to burn the boats." I didn't burn the boats. I worked at a regular job. So I just started talking about my story and what I went through, and people started reaching out and asking for coaching relative to how I get around the planet so much and how I make extraordinary connections with people in different parts of the world, and how did I fail this business or start this business. And then true to form, I sought out a mentor myself after I was doing the coaching, just kind of like ad hoc, just Zoom and PayPal and stuff. I hired someone for a couple of sessions, and he helped me organize my business, and it turned into it's well into the six figures now on an annual basis. So it's awesome. And what I'm doing is helping people redesign their lifestyle, make their lifestyle something that they don't need vacation from, because there are people that are stuck in the office. They don't have geographic freedom. They have not put a plan in place to create assets for later. They make money now, but they're going to need something to make money for them later, right? So we talk about real estate and stuff. But that's where the impetus came from, was just people reaching out, asking for help. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll help. And my time is valuable. So
absolutely,
please pay for it. But it's been fantastic. And I've coached now, maybe, I'm pretty sure I'm over 100 at this point. And the way that I do it one-on-one, I choose to keep it that way. Everybody that I've coached is all connected in a Slack group, because we all know that we're like-minded, trying to build time, financial, geographic freedom, purpose, relationship freedom. So it's nice when you have a community of people who have been kind of through the same process, if you will, and speak the same language. So we're always bantering back and forth.
Yeah, that's great. The power of community. It's really super helpful, especially when you find your tribe. You touched on mentors, and something else I'm curious about is kind of who have been a few of those influential people, either personal or just, that you read or look up to or something. Sounds like your dad for sure gave you some good early lessons. And
well, he's the number one. He's the number one as far as just having integrity as a man. I could not have gotten a better father. I'm from a Haitian immigrant family. So my dad is our 35 year educator, retired out of the Boston, Massachusetts school system as a principal. He's just always the work hard, save your money kind of guy. But he encouraged me to find my own blueprint in life. And I am not the work hard, save money guy. I am the work hard, make money grow guy. And then be all over the planet and be in the Mideast today, be in the US tomorrow kind of guy. My early mentors, honestly, books. Aisle 6 of the Fairfax County Library, God bless you, because I think I read everything in that aisle. I did kind of move to, I started to realize the power of self-development and personal development and self-education. And in 2015, I hired a mentor at significant expense, 50 grand. I tell you, it's 50 grand. It was real estate related, helping me shift from single family to multifamily, because I couldn't figure it out. Like I was having limiting beliefs related to it, et cetera, et cetera. It took me 2 years to do my first multifamily deal. And he flew down to DC from Rhode Island. He was just pissed off at me. He showed up in the city and he's like, clear your calendar for 2 days. And I did. And he pretty much challenged me. He was like, why do you think that you, young black dude, can't do big deals like me, old chubby white guy? I mean, and the way he said it, he was being respectful, but the way he said it was challenging my notion of what I had the ability to do. Mm-hmm. And I had a mobile home park under contract 3 weeks later.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah. So it was nice to have him. I hired a coach for establishing Quattro Capital. And then, you have informal mentors along the way, but I cannot beat on the self-education, coaching, mentor drum loud enough, because mentors, if it's the right one, can take you to point A to point B faster without you having to reinvent the wheel. And people will pay $100 grand for a music degree, but they won't pay, 50 grand for 6 months of someone's time who has already built the dream that you want. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we're big fans. We did that at multiple points along our journey. We have and continue annually. We have a hefty coaching / development budget as part of our businesses every year. Be it, similarly when we got into real estate syndication. I mean, you can't do that alone, really. It's from getting a loan with a lender to just understanding the ropes. I mean, like you said, you just closed on a $38 million property not too long ago. Well, if you make a mistake doing something, 7-8 figures, it's a lot. It's an expensive mistake, and it's not just your money. And so
that's the biggest reason. It's not my money. It's my investors' money. And it's not even my investors' money. The way that I look at money is all the time that you create it.
Right.
Someone invests $100,000. That's, several years of working and putting money aside and not having dinner with the kids at night. And no.
Yeah. And then just outside of business coaching and development, life. I've done the same with life coaching, right? When I hit my off ramp for corporate world, I did the same thing. I was a bit lost. I needed some help and some traction and somebody to guide me through that turbulent time period and steer me in a different direction. So same thing. I got a coach. It's well worth the investment. It opened my eyes to certain things I wasn't thinking about. And I mean, if you think about your life and look back on your life, I mean, it's a small investment to make to fundamentally change your lifestyle and bring you something that's more fulfilling and rewarding. And well, true to the wonders of modern technology, Maurice was coming to us from Lebanon across the world. He was having a little bit of Wi-Fi problems. It looks like we've lost him for a bit, and he has some other appearances that he was on. But Maurice, you can find him at trylifeon.com. There's a little bit more about him personally, as well as his coaching program, which I highly encourage you to check out. Maurice is also very prolific on LinkedIn at Maurice Philogene. He posts a lot about his story, about his journey, and encouraging words to help. So if you're on LinkedIn, I encourage you to connect with Maurice there. And otherwise, you might find him globetrotting around the world. So we certainly thank Maurice for coming on the show today, shared some great insights. There were some beautiful takeaways in terms of, living life to the fullest and putting purpose behind your life versus just letting life float along by. So we thank you for joining us today on In the Champions Corner and look forward to seeing you on a next episode. Thanks very much. For those of you joining us today, we hope you enjoyed this time in the Champions Corner as much as we did. Got some awesome takeaways, and most importantly, will take action to continue living your best life and maximizing your potential. Mindset is such an important aspect of life, and when coupled with action, delivers undeniably powerful results.
Please subscribe to the podcast to hear from more great guests and get the latest mindset mastery insights and cash flow matchups.
Again, thank you so much for investing your time with us, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the Cash Flow Fight Club podcast.